Okay, this is, I think, the smallest of the at least 4 waterfalls we have seen here by now. Okay, the one at the top, the highest straight one, then this one, then the one where I just sat recording, which is more cascade kind of going down, and then as far as I remember, there's one down there still. I mean, there might be a few more further down, but I've never been in that direction, so that's past the car park down the road, and there's not really a walkway, I guess. I mean, you can always walk in the water. But anyhow, let's continue with the story of Joseph and his brothers, and now they're going to go down. Verse 11, chapter 43, verse 11. Then their father Israel said to them, "If it must be so, then do this. Take some of the choice fruits of the land in your bags and carry a present down to the man. A little balm and a little honey, gum, myrrh, pistachio, nuts and almonds." Okay, so again, they're using the word Israel here. Why not Jacob? I think this is as well, again, Moses' input here. He's not speaking of Jacob, right? Jacob as a deceiver. But Israel, they are Israel. They as a people. Okay? He's speaking in that sense of them. So therefore using the word Israel. We have seen when we get to the Psalms and the teaching on the Psalms, you see every time Jacob is doing something good, he's called Israel. Every time he speaks of his deceiving part, mention Jacob. Okay? So in this case, he is a father of many, the father of the nation going back to Canaan, Israel going back to Canaan. So the fact that he's called Israel points to that in the desert, points that everything worked out well ultimately. He is now put more on the higher pedestal. Okay, he's not the Jacob the deceiver, it's Israel our father. That is why he's called Israel here. And so he says, okay, the first thing, he's going to mention 3 things I can take. The first thing is, some of the best stuff from here, right? Little balm, little honey, gum, myrrh, pistachio, nuts, almonds. Now you can ask the question, if there's a famine, where the heck did they get all of these stuff from? Okay? I mean, it's kind of a good question. If you don't know agriculture, you might really ask. It's a good question because things need. Now, the fact of the matter is, firstly, you don't really need water for balm. Okay? It can last a while. It's still from the previous stuff they had in the good years. Right? The same honey. Now, honey, yes, sure. Honey there you can get honey in the desert where there's no water. Okay, it's not impossible. I mean, not to say that you can get honey like where there's no water. You need bees, understandably. You need bees, but bees know where to find what they need to make the honey. Yes, sure, they need flowers and everything for that, right? So, but again, it can be something either that they traded for something else with other people coming through, or some part that might have been left still. Okay, gum from a tree. Okay, myrrh as well. You don't know, they would have traded that most likely. Pistachio, nuts, almonds, all different kinds of nuts, right, that can last a while. Or again, that they could have traded for something else with other people because there were tradesmen around. But he's saying, okay, so the best of year. So that does not imply that they needed the water or the famine, because you need more to just eat nuts and honey. You can't survive very long and just eating nuts and honey, right? Myrrh and all those other stuff it's nothing. It's not food you're going to eat. So the nuts and the honey, right? Almonds, pistachios, different kinds of nuts. This is what they can eat. But if you are put on a ship and you sent somewhere and you just given nuts and honey, you're going to get sick. Right? This is why in the past when the people were on the ships and they were just not eating enough of vitamin C, that's why they founded a colony, like say in the Cape colony, right? Because a place where they can get fresh produce. Okay? So you need more than. I remember it's like in Russia. If you can give the people a ton of food, to eat. But they haven't eaten bread, it's as if they haven't eaten. Right? We are hungry. But you just ate a kilogram of whatever, potatoes. We are hungry. Okay? Because we haven't had bread. Here in this part of the world, they can eat a ton of food. If they haven't eaten rice, it's not as if they've eaten. It's like, we are hungry because we haven't had our rice. Okay? But anyhow, even outside of that, food that they needed for the bread, for other that they had to produce too, they had none of that. I mean, they had sheep, they could keep the sheep and everything, and you can just go as long on that as well. And if the sheep is not eating, there's not a lot to eat anyhow. They needed the bread, they needed grain, so they had to go down. So now they're taking some of the stuff that they have left to take as a present to Joseph. Okay, it's like this Russian program where people had to, called Polychidist, where people had to figure out, like hangman kind of, but just on a TV. They had to guess a word, letters, etc., etc. And in that game, always people would come from all over Russia, and then they would bring the best produce from their villages or their region to the host, and then they off clothes or whatever and give that as a present too. It was always interesting to watch it, more not for them guessing the words, but more for them, for what is coming from that area, to learn a little bit of that area, right? And this is the same thing that Jacob, Israel then in this case now, telling his sons to do. Take the choices of what we have here, right? It's like a bribe kind of, but it's not to say it's a bribe. This is just normal practice, right? It's not, you're not really going to bribe. It's more in trying to get him on our good side. Not bribing him, but more to get him on our good side. Verse 12. Now the second thing they need to do. Take double the money with you. Carry back with you the money that was returned in the mouth of your sacks. Perhaps it was an oversight. Okay, so take double money. So take the money that you took before and you got back. Take that with and double. So money was not a problem for them, right? They had enough money. Now, here two things can be in play. Firstly, if you sold him as a slave, then the illegal gain you got by selling him as a slave, you will give back, right? And selling him again as a slave or others as a slave, next time I'll just send you back with more, with all that money. So you'll never be able to keep that money. So get that out of your head, out of your thick skulls. I am not letting you keep this money if you sold him as a slave. He's not saying that you did sell him, it's just making sure that they understand that if they did it before, that thing is not going to happen because they need to give all that money back. The illegal gains, right, like Zacchaeus later on, Zacchaeus, all the illegal gains. He's like told Jesus when he was there in the fig tree and he got up and Jesus came to his house and he said, I will give everything back, all illegal gains. Who I took and I take, I will give him double, 4 times, whatever more back, right? You're not going to keep the illegal gains. It's like the story I remember hearing on radio where this guy was saying, radio pulpit there in South Africa, and he said there was this man who stole a radio, and as he was listening to the radio, he heard the radio pulpit, the preacher preaching, and then he felt convinced of his sin, and he said, now he called them and said, so what do I do now? I stole this radio, I converted, how do I pay back? Right, that kind of idea. So Jacob is making sure, that if they did it for the wrong reasons, they know that this time it's not going to work. You don't come back without another, you're not going to sell another boy and bring back all this money again. But I never let you keep this illegal gain, okay? So that is that thing. The other thing is, if it was a mistake, right? So that guy, they made a mistake or whatever, you give it back. You tell them that we didn't steal this. Here's some money back. Okay? We didn't steal this money. Here, it's all back. Okay, that can be that thing as well. So there's lots of things at play here. Why? Right? So maybe it's an oversight. If it's oversight, that's kind of better than you sold him as a slave. Right? So then okay, so there's a double-edged sword here that Israel is wielding. So this is the first thing, best produce kind of that we have left here. Second thing is the money. And the third thing is